Today we're going to talk about how Hondas are very reliable, but yet they can still get into your pocketbook. Let's get started. So today we have a couple of Hondas that are in the shop that you guys have seen them in the past. They've been in videos. This one actually is a car I helped buy for my daughter's boyfriend. It is a 2015 Honda Pilot. Actually, Euro-Asian Bob picked this one up and got a really good deal on him. It's a really nice vehicle. But it's at that age where small items can fail. And one of them, actually two of them have failed, but one of them I'm actually amazed how long it lasted. We're sitting at home, a Sunday evening, we're relaxing, we got a phone call. Mom, Dad, the battery light is on, and they go to turn it on and it just clicks, it's completely dead. I knew just by the symptoms that the alternator had died. They did take a look under the hood, maybe the boyfriend could maybe work on it or figure it out, but after they saw where the alternator was located, they were like, nope, probably a little above my pay grade. I had this thing out in 30 minutes, and I knew in my mind, although the boyfriend is mechanically inclined, it probably would take them an entire day of cursing and throwing tools. It's like, you know what, just get it towed to the shop. I'll have it done, get this over with for you, get over this hump, get it taken care of. This morning we found out something very interesting on Hondas. There's no way we can know every little trick about every little car of literally 1,000 different makes and models of cars. There's no way. But this is a neat little trick that I learned today. Actually, Grimes found this out. He was opening the hood on the other vehicle we're going to show today. And he's like, these are just like a Mercedes. The hood has a surface position, a special notch to go even higher with the hood that most cars don't have. Let me show you guys what we're talking about. You can see it has two different settings here, two different square holes, but there's a third one way down here. And watch what this does. Ta-da! Now it's way open, there's plenty of room to work, and I'm a very tall guy, and I seem to always be hitting my head on these. I go to reach and boom. So that's one really cool feature that really helped a lot. I've got the alternator out, actually waiting on the new one to arrive, which isn't that big of a deal. It wasn't a big deal, but I got the battery out, just kind of test it, and it was bulged really bad on the side, and I figured, well, you know, it's probably on its last leg. While it's here, I'll just throw a battery in it. This is the original battery from 2015, 9 years ago. They definitely got their money's worth out of this battery. This is the battery that came from the factory 9 years ago. The proof of that is that this is a Honda battery, obviously, but it says something on the top, 100-month battery. It's on its last leg, it's weak, it tested to be a weak battery, and we calculated the months. It's like 8.5 years, 9, somewhere in there. That's exactly when this vehicle was new. This is the original battery. It lasted all this time. It's really amazing. I haven't seen a battery last 9 years. Usually 7, maybe 6, but 9 is pretty amazing. But anyways, that's what's really cool on this car. Nothing major going on. Let's head on over to the other Honda. So you guys have actually seen this not too long ago. It's a 2009 Honda Accord that's owned by a local pastor of a church. And he knew about an oil leak the last time it was here, and finally it's time to get it fixed. There are times fixing cars seems so much easier than navigating through the struggles of life. I look my scan tool up and it usually points me in the right direction. What's causing the problem? I struggle with long Kansas winters. The weather makes me feel like I'm on a horrible roller coaster I can't get off of. The weather is freezing, snowy, icy, rainy. We can even have all 4 of those in one single day. When I really just wish for a nice sunny day, I could take my Viper out, enjoy the warmth and the speed. Luckily, we're finally getting to spring. The world is starting to lose the sad winter look. You ever feel like the world is moving forward and you're just stuck in a bad routine or a bad place? Don't you wish there was a way out? Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know, the largest therapy platform in the world. It's totally online. All you have to do is go online. You can use my link betterhelp.com/carwizard. There you can answer a few questions about yourself. BetterHelp will match you with a therapist usually within 48 hours. Then you get to choose how you'd like to connect with them, either by phone call, messaging, or video chat. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you from all comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/carwizard for 10% off your first month of therapy. That link also is in the description below. Let the therapist at BetterHelp get you on the road to happier, healthier life. Now, back to this broken Honda. So like I just mentioned, this is a 2009 Honda Accord. It has the 4-cylinder in it, and the customer brought it not too long ago just for a check engine light, something small, really small. And they were hoping it would be in and out, quick little job. This is one of those instances that really helps to have some savings put away because of unexpected repairs can just pop up out of nowhere. They wanted an inspection. They're seeing a little bit of oil on the ground, kind of want to see what's going on here. And after I gave the news, the customer wasn't upset, but they were like, this is not a good time for this. I can't do that right now. I'll have to bring it back. I've actually been through that a lot of times where customers, it catches them off guard. They need to regroup, go home, think about some things, run some numbers, and figure some things out, and then they'll bring their car back. We actually have 2 cars other than this in the shop right now. It's the same scenario. And I get it, I understand. But it's finally back. It's here to get fixed. And it's a $1,200 oil leak. That's why it had to wait. Before we dive in, let's take a look around the car and let Mrs. Wizard show you the interior and how many miles is on this thing. So it's currently sitting on the lift that's hardest to film, but nothing against the lift. As you can see, it's in decent shape. The wheels have some actual peeling or something of the coating or paint that's on the wheels. But it's just an average go to work or go to church car. It's not nothing fancy or anything like that. And it's definitely doing the job. It's doing a very good job. As you look down the side, you can see it's not caved in or dented or rusted or anything. The back looks nice shiny paint. There are some rough spots in the paint, but it's not too bad. We do have the wheel off on the front, but you can see on that wheel in the back, again, the paint is chipping off. And that's no surprise. When we jump inside the interior, Mrs. Wizard will show you how many miles is on this thing.
Okay, ladies and gents, that's why 230,617 miles. Isn't that insane? Of course, lots of lights on there because, well, there's nothing hooked up front, so except the battery. Let's go ahead and turn that off. There we go. Bye-bye, gauge cluster. It was looking quite nice. All the bulbs were going there. With 230,000, you can see the dash is in really good shape. By now in many cars, there's already halfway down to the Grand Canyon with some of those cracks and crevices. So we move around, you'll see again, it's looking good. Not a lot of crazy buttons and controls here. It's just a simple, easy to use car. It is an automatic. And we do have the parking brake on, which we don't always do with an automatic, but being that the car is on jack stands on a 4-post lift, definitely want to keep that guy engaged. Do have some wear here, where when you get in the car, you just kind of use your elbow to help get you in. And you know, he is a pastor, so he might need to console people, so he does have this box of tissues, but if we look around those box of tissues, the seats are in very nice condition. A little bit of staining on it, but you see that staining on the camera far more than you see it in person. Door card is looking very nice. Look at that armrest. It's like hardly anybody's ever sat there. It's in really good condition. As we look at the back seat, you can see everything's looking really good. And he does have a portable air compressor back here. You never know. You better be safe than sorry if you ever have a flat tire. As we move up, yes, it is kind of sagging. But if I was going to have a headliner sagging, this would be the way to do it. The center dome light is keeping everything nicely held up there, so it's not actually sagging into your hair. As we're back at the steering wheel, it does have a cover on here, and it's probably because it's got some blistering on it. With 230,000 miles, of course, it's probably got some wear on it because this has got a lot of use out of it. So this is actually kind of nice. Feels like it has a nice grip on it. I've seen a lot of aftermarket covers that are really kind of bad and cheesy and horrible, but doing really good. Buttons on the steering wheel look really good, and our Honda emblem is great in the center. So enough of this interior talk. Let's see why it has a $1,200 oil leak.
So here we are with a $1,200 oil leak. It really wasn't all that hard to get apart, but it's just time consuming mostly, isn't it?
Yep.
So what's actually going on is the timing cover and various other seals and things of the VVT system are just leaking down the side of the engine, and with 230,000 miles, it's not surprising. The engine runs perfect, it's very reliable, there's nothing wrong with the car, but the oil leak is getting annoying more than it is a problem as far as mechanical problems. And Grimes has already got this thing torn apart. Let's take a look. So this wasn't no 15-minute job, was it?
No, it took a couple hours. Basically, it's just timing cover reseal, so you have to pull a valve cover and one of the engine mounts, so you've got to support the engine and unbolt the timing cover, and I think you got to pull the crank sensor and the VVT solenoid, but outside of that, pretty straightforward.
So right where the timing cover actually bolts to the block is where a lot of it's weeping out, and although the timing chain is exposed, the tensioner is only out a couple of clicks. It's not stretched. There's nothing wrong. There's no timing chain issue, so we're not going to mess with that right now. Also, the guides look very good. They're wearing very nicely, so no issues there. But there's a couple more items while we're there we're going to take care of. Let me show you those. Is that another one of those VQ guys running from the cops?
Either that or the Dodge guys.
Oh, it could be a Scat Pack, huh?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. They probably stole it. They're running.
In Newton, of all places?
I don't know. Anyway, sorry for all the police sounds in the background. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me show you what's going on here. So on top of all the things that are already apart, you can see there's a little square bracket or a plate that goes here. There's a screen and a gasket behind that that's also seeping a little bit down the block. We have to take this power steering pump and tensioner bracket out of the way, then we can get to that.
That's actually a pretty common oil leak on a lot of these K-series motors.
Yeah.
More often than the timing cover itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the VVT solenoid O-ring and the crank sensor O-rings, they just over time get real bad. But the timing cover itself is just sealed with Honda Bond sealant.
Yep.
And over time it just gets, dry and hard and starts to leak.
So basically it's just like RTV silicone, similar to that, the Honda Bond.
Yep.
Yeah. So the parts involved really aren't that expensive. Just some gaskets, some seals. There's lots of wire there, things, O-rings, like we just showed you, the mesh screen gasket and all that. The real cost in this comes in the labor involved. You get 3, 4, 5, 6 hours into taking this all apart, cleaning all the parts, put it all back together. And it can add up at $150 an hour. Every hour that goes by, it adds up, boom, 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 and pretty soon you're at a $1,200 bill. So I'll let you go back to break. Thanks for describing what you found and some of the common issues with the K-Series motors, and don't run from those cops out there. So earlier I mentioned while we were looking at the Honda Pilot how Grimes had found that these actually have a service position on the hoods. If you can see here, it's the same situation. There's actually a hole way down here that holds the hood way up in the air and opens this up so nice. I'm glad he found that. The other thing, you'll notice also that this car is on jack stands, but the actual trolley jack that goes on the lift itself isn't holding the car up. It's holding the engine up because we have to take the motor mounts off to get the timing cover off. Now you can see why this isn't a 15-minute, $200 job. So this is one of those scenarios that having a 4-post lift with a trolley jack is really perfect for doing this type of a job. You can have multiple things holding different items. Like the jack stands are holding up the car, but the trolley jack's holding up the engine and vice versa. You can really get a lot of work done a little quicker that way, a little easier. Now let's take a look at the parts table here. So this here is actually our timing cover. There's some gaskets here that were leaking. Also, you can see this old gasket material. It's like RTV, Honda Bond, like he was mentioning. It's just crumbly, hard, almost like plastic now.
They look like old earthworms.
They kind of do. But that's where it was leaking on the side of the block. There was also this gasket, which goes right here. And while we have this all apart, we're going to go ahead and replace the front main seal, which is right here on the timing cover as well. It wasn't leaking, but only a fool would put it back on with the old one. We'll put a brand new one on, and they'll never have to worry about that again, probably. There's some seals here on this VVT solenoid, and valve cover gasket with all of the ignition coil seals or gaskets that go there. The coloration you see inside the valve cover is like tea colored, and that's normal for actually a healthy engine. It's got 230,000 miles on it, so it's to be expected, really. You can see we have some motor mount brackets, the motor mount removed, and a few other things, the coils, and here is actually a crank sensor that he mentioned, and also a little plate that has a seal. All these things here were leaking oil. So we're getting this taken care of for the customer so they can have their church driving car back. And it's one of those situations again where you go in for a small little something or other and it blows up into something you were unexpecting. Luckily, this customer, we've done a lot of work for them and they understand what it costs to do the work, but they kind of just weren't ready for that at the moment. Now they are. We get it taken care of. There's also a Mercedes you'll be seeing in a video and a few other cars in the shop right now that are here from previous repairs. Now some of you say, wasn't that car just in the shop? Why is it back? Well, now you know why it's back. The customer wasn't ready for the expense at the time. Now they've got the money saved up. Now the car's back again to get those other repairs taken care of. That's kind of how it happens. You see cars coming and going and coming and going. There are some unscrupulous shops out there that would say, you've got to do this now, all 12,000 or all 6,000. If you don't, it's going to catch on fire. They'll lie to you. We don't do that here. If it's not going to be detrimental to your engine or hurt your car, we'll gladly let you take it home and bring it back when it works. And with the Honda Pilot, sometimes life happens. Most of you out there could probably in the comments sections can list a place where you were shopping or what you were doing when your alternator went out and the battery light came on and you're like, great, this is exactly not what I need right now. But luckily we can get them taken care of and get it fixed up. What's really nice is they were 2 blocks from home when it failed and they were able to drive the rest of the way and park it. They asked, can they drive it up? I said, no, it probably is going to die on you, so go ahead and get it towed. We got it towed up here. And guess what car they get to drive around while they're waiting? The Junkie Juke. You guys remember the Junkie Juke that has Australian crank bearings in it because there are no other bearings on the entire surface of the earth for those engines. That is so weird. But anyways, wanted to show you guys some things on the hoods. A really neat trick that Grimes found today. Maybe some of you already knew about that, but it's something we found out today. And how sometimes life gets in the way, alternators happen, sometimes oil leaks happen, and it's making a mess on the ground. I don't have the money right now. I'll bring it back later, and now we're getting it taken care of. So if you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use in the shop to fix all these cars, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. If you purchase anything, we get a small cut, and we really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on Mrs. Wizard's Ways. Go check that out in the link below as well. She's got some new videos uploaded for you guys there. And also hit the subscribe button here because we have a full month schedule full, which means more videos for you guys. And we're getting close to 1 million subscribers. Thanks to you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.